viewers. This is Jen, Virginia, from Water is Alive. What have we got a treat for you today? You want to feel good about yourself? If you're easily disgusted, don't watch this video. I've cleaned out a friend's refrigerator. You too can clean out a friend's refrigerator. You know the friend that needs the clean refrigerator treatment. Oh, God. All the power to you. Anyway, this is Bokashi. Bokashi is a method of composting that instead of utilizing the regular open air rotting method, we use the closed air fermentation method. So it's an anaerobic process, and anaerobic means without air. It's based upon the use of microorganisms. We use these microorganisms. It's called effective microorganisms. They sell them in most countries in the world. It was developed in the 80s by Dr. Higa in Japan. So there are indigenous microorganisms, probably indigenous of Japan. There's indigenous organisms from everywhere. There's a lot of lactic acid, lactic acid producing organisms that actually go into the organic matter, living. They eat it up, they reproduce, they keep on living, and they take care of your organic matter until you can put it back into the ground. So we're going to get right on it. I cleaned out my friend's garage. No, I'm sorry. Could have been the garage. It was the refrigerator. Goodness. Anyway, this is done using 2 buckets. One bucket has holes in it. The other bucket doesn't have holes in it. The bucket with the holes goes in the bucket without the holes. And this is because all of the juices in your veggies, they're going to drip down. You want to, this space, this outside bucket is just to keep your compost not soaking in its own juices. We don't want it to soak in its own juices. We want those juices to drip off, and we'll do something else with those juices. So we're just going to dive right into it. These are some organic carrots. Nice how that ends. That's not so nice. This is just the beginning, you guys. We got some real colorful stuff in here. Don't even know what it is. So we are spraying. This is inoculating your compost with the effective microorganisms. It started out in the 80s with about it started out as 81 microorganisms. Since then they have been eating each other. That was some delicious ravioli. Bread, everybody. So sometimes when you hear about composting, you hear a bunch of rules from you can't put citrus in there, you can't put bread, you can't put meat. There's a whole list of stuff that you're not supposed to put in regular compost. That's not the case with anaerobic composting, because we are shutting it off. Some, grapes, almost raisins. So we got some bolognese sauce. We're going to put that in there. So you can put cooked foods in here. We're going to wash all this stuff out before recycling. Actually, my city does not have glass recycling. That's one issue post-China trash. What was China doing taking our trash the whole time anyway? Like from everywhere in the world. That's weird. Now all of a sudden, 2 years ago, look, Rose, in the Bokashi. Well, it wasn't stinking yet, but even if it was stinking, consider putting in the Bokashi and not in your trash, because it's stinking up the trash too. And, we could go weeks and weeks and weeks with one trash bag if we just weren't orange. This is a cantaloupe. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open up this kind of moldy cantaloupe to see what it looks like on the inside, but also just to kind of get it out of its bigger form. Now this is really sweet and delicious. That is it looks disgusting on the outside. Disgusting is maybe a big word. But on the inside, that is the sweetest, juiciest cantaloupe, and it's still completely edible. These beets, on the other hand, not so much. I mean, try to take the tags off. There's metal in there. You can also take the tags off later. So cooked foods. Oh, that was some fermenting chipotle lime salsa. So, back to China. They took our trash for a long time, and then really a lot of trash from a lot of countries. It's crazy. Then they decided to change their own environmental policy and start cleaning it up. Okay, that's some gross stuff right here. Yep. And not to accept the world's trash, because we don't clean our trash. Like, even if you do have recycling, no matter where it is, if you're not cleaning out that plastic, you know, the cake stuff or the lasagna stuff on the inside of your plastic, those packages, they fish it out of your recycling and throw it in the landfill anyway. So we were sending all of our disgusting trash over there. Okay, that's really gross. That was asparagus. So glad this isn't a scratch and sniff channel. You guys would unsubscribe. By the way, subscribing, they say helps. If you consider that, it would be great. I do videos in 3 languages, because this is something for everybody. It's not just, you know, let's watch this girl, this crazy woman, like clean people's refrigerators and recycle her whatever she thinks she's doing. I'm composting. This is called Bokashi composting. This is keeping all these enzymes and all this amino acids and all these DNAs very cool through the fermentation process. It's never going to heat up. It's never going to be steaming compost. It's always going to be kept at an ambient temperature, because we don't want these amino acids and these enzymes to melt. We still need to put them intact back into the ground so they can be reabsorbed into the plant root, so they can start moving back up the food chain. So that's just some like stuff out of, that's how I keep my, when I'm, you know, cutting veggies and stuff, I put them in plastic, and then I put that plastic, oh, there's some cheese, yuckomungus. It's not going to waste, because I'm, you know, those cows that produce that cheese had eaten plants, and the plants had absorbed the DNA, or not the DNA, they synthesized DNA from the enzymes and their interaction with the amino acids that are in the ground. So this is a very important chain of life. By throwing everything in the landfill or like burning it at the incinerator, we're actually destroying these enzymes. Okay, that's some, I think it was chicken or something, I don't know. All right, everybody, hold on to your knickers. That is some, I don't know, pork chop? Oh, God, really? Anyway, it's enough to make you want to go vegetarian, or at least clean your fridge every week. And if you have this system, it's okay to clean your fridge every week. That's the whole idea, because you're not wasting it. You're not throwing it to the landfill. You're keeping it cool. You're caring for it. There's going to be somebody in your neighborhood that would actually want to put this stuff into their yard, because once somebody does it and they notice how beautiful their yard is, like, what do you do with your yard? Okay, so that was some cooked food. Cooked food is just fine to use in the bokashi. There's nothing wrong with putting cooked food in the bokashi. There's hardly anything you can't. Here's some butter, some like margarine stuff. So anyway, a little bit back to the China story. I know I'm jumping all over the place, but it's fine. This is, oh my goodness, this still looks like a pretty good lemon. Oh, I'm having a hard time throwing that away. But just to show you that lemons are fine to put in the bokashi, we're going to do it. Those are lemons. They don't look like they're really moldy. That's the butter from whatever I just put in there. Lemons are fine. Limes are fine. Big grapefruits, just like the cantaloupe, probably better if you cut them in half or something, you know. I mean, if you put a big grapefruit into the bokashi, it'll still be a big grapefruit going into the ground. It's going to take just longer for it to break down. This bread, really nice, was really nice. So I don't know if I'm coming across with the fact that you have to spray. These are living microorganisms, so it's going to, I'm introducing it into the bokashi. It's going to eat all the sugars. Everything has sugar in it practically, not just, you know, white sugar that we add, but just sugar that's naturally occurring, vegetables too. it's going to go to those sugars, and it's going to eat those sugars, and it's going to reproduce. So the same trick can be used. Oh my goodness, look at these beautiful portobellas. Lordy, lordy, that's my fault. It happens, I guess, you know. Back to China. What were we doing sending our stuff to China anyway? That's, you know, it's like glass recycling. We don't do that in my town. How hard is it to break some glass up and crush it and then reuse it and so many different things, or melt it down? So I talked to my the Department of Trash that picks up by my house, and they said glass in my town, it's not feasible to recycle it, because when they do pick it up, here's some herbs. Those are nice. When they do pick it up, they take it all the way north of town to separate it, where they throw a lot of it away. Like if you're somebody that like drinks Corona and puts a lime in there, well, that's dirtying the glass. So then they're gonna use that anymore. If you smoke cigarettes and put your butt in there, they're probably not gonna use that either. They're gonna end up throwing it away. So again, this is the way that I chop when I'm chopping my vegetables at night. I put them in a little plastic thing. I put them in the fridge. I kind of keep them together. I store them. And then when I have a couple, then I throw them in the bokashi. So I don't like open my bucket every single time. Here is some broccoli and more broccoli. Oh, spray, 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 because we want to inoculate the bokashi with our microorganisms. Very important. The microorganisms are going to keep it from rotting. Yay! So back to China. So it's not feasible for us to do things like recycle glass, you know, easy, or plastics if they're dirty. You know, if your plastic is dirty and you haven't cleaned it out, and you're like, you know, I don't feel like cleaning it out, they're going to throw it away anyway. I'm not discouraging you from putting your things in the recycling bin, but try to clean it out. I know in Amsterdam, in the country of the Netherlands, we do a lot of recycling of green matter, and in Amsterdam we don't. And that is because when people throw things like their whole plastic in there, this is going to take years to disintegrate. This is not environmentally friendly. They have to throw the whole thing away. If there's more than a couple of percent of, like even 1% trash in your compost, and it's a municipal collections compost, they have to throw it all in the landfill anyway. So if a town doesn't do a lot of recycling, that could be a reason why. That could be a really good reason why. So this is more cooked food. You know, if you're cleaning out your, let's say you're cleaning out your kitchen cabinets, and you find some, you know, canned food in there from 2015 or 2016 or even 2018, and you don't feel comfortable eating it anymore, then open it up, put it in your bokashi. If you find rice, and your rice has, you know, been, you know, your rice is 10 years old and you don't want to eat that anymore either, put it in your bokashi. Old pasta, new pasta. Candy, I mean, candy has a lot of sugar in it. So actually we're doing a chemistry project. We're actually feeding our microorganisms sugars. And, well, in this case, moldy cheese. So they're going to multiply. Look at this. I got some coffee in here. It's my coffee filter. My filter goes in there too, because of course that will break down. So you get the idea. We're cleaning out my friend's his refrigerator. It needed it really bad. There's a lot of people that just don't get around to that kind of stuff, and nobody really wants to do that. So if you have a heart and, well, actually a stomach, that you might consider, you know, cleaning somebody's refrigerator out, you can actually take your bucket right into their kitchen with a spray and some rags, of course, to clean up after the scene. It's kind of like a murder scene. It's pretty gross. I mean, it doesn't smell, and these microorganisms will keep it from smelling. But So we're getting almost to the bottom of the fridge here. There's some more citrus in here. That looks like a really nice citrus. I just, you know, when the fridge gets this bad, it's hard not to want to throw everything away. I didn't throw everything away, you know. But, you know, if it was your fridge, I might. So give us a call if you want some help, a little bit of trash coaching. We all need to support each other. This is a great time to figure out what to do with our trash. You know, stop talking about China. What are we doing talking about China? China taking our trash and then not taking our trash? That's insane how China ever took our trash. We need to figure out how to deal with our trash in our own neighborhood, don't you think? You know, and then this is our trash is like this, like learning how to be, you know, learning how to be potty trained. You know, we're taking care of our own trash. We can figure out a place to bury it in a park. We might need some permission. I can maybe help your city come to the conclusion that they can appoint a place so that you can bury your trash. If you're living in a city and you don't, you know, you live in an apartment and you don't want to keep it, we all understand that this is a science experiment that could go south, right? It could really get gross. It doesn't have to get gross, you know. I mean, at least post refrigerator, if you bury this within 2 weeks, it's not going to stink really bad. In fact, this will probably smell better after 2 weeks than it smells right now. I'm Virginia with Water is Alive. Have a lot of hope. I know some people are really kind of getting down that, you know, the world's shutting down. It's probably going to keep shutting down for a while. You know, this whole mask thing, politics, whatever, man. Whatever party you're from, we all breathe air, the ambient air, right? I mean, unless you're on a respirator. We all drink water, the same water that should be coming out of the tap, and not talking about a plastic bottle coming from Japan or wherever. You know, and we all have to eat. All of our food comes right out of the ground. Even if you're eating meat, that animal ate food that came right out of the ground. All of our DNA is synthesized through what is in the ground, present in the ground. So that's what we need to work on, is keeping everything that's in our biosphere, keeping it cool so that the enzymes and the DNA are safe, and so that the amino acids aren't denaturing or melting before they get back into the ground. So it's all about love. We're all one big family on one big ship in space, in the middle of nowhere, following a star. Where are we going? We're right here, right now. So let's take better care of our stuff. If you have any questions, please put them in the comment box below. Take care of yourselves, you guys. Say hi to your neighbors. Be good to yourselves. Do something, like, you know, for somebody else. Feel good. Take a deep breath. Not with your nose in this stuff, but somewhere.